everyone, so looks like all this Disney movie came out this year, especially the Little Mermaid, the Indiana Jones 5, the Elemental. Let's look at their box office number. First we start with the Little Mermaid. Looks like this movie, after all, looks like it will cross $300 million at the domestic market. Looks like as of now, this movie, it is sitting on the domestic is $289 million. International is $253 million. Total is $543. So looks like this movie, after all, looks like it's gonna cross $300 million at the domestic, which is really good news, because last week I was thinking, oh, it might not. Not that if it crossed that number, it will be hit or anything like that. I think this movie at this point looks like it may or may not be 580. If it does cross to 580, I feel like this movie will be like it will be not huge loss. I think the biggest problem with this movie is the box office was, I think the international, this movie did really bad over there. Once again, I feel like this movie, especially their casting choice, really lost a lot of money because of their choice, because end of the day, this movie wasn't bad. The movie wasn't bad at all. That is why you can see this movie still doing quite good at the box office. Only the race swapping character, I think because of that, it lost money. Nothing to do with Hailey Bailey or anything. It's everything to do with the race swapping. These days, people just don't want it, you know. People are getting tired of oak stuff, especially now we go to Indiana Jones. Looks like it is a huge flop for Disney. Looks like Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, it did cross to $125 million at the domestic. International is really low, honestly. Only $127 million. Total is $252 million. It is like, whoa, huge flop for Disney, because this movie cost to make like that's what I heard, more than $300 million. This movie's budget was. They didn't do that much advertising, I guess, because they knew it's going to be flop. I think the biggest reason for this movie's budget was so huge, because I think this movie got delayed so many times. Anytime you delay movie like this, it will the budget will be up, because I think this movie, it was okay. Yeah, this movie was try to do something different with the what is her name, Phoebe Waller or something. It didn't work, you know. They try to do oak stuff, doesn't work. That being said, our next movie we'll be looking into is Elemental. I feel sad for Elemental, because overall this movie looks like it's not that bad. This movie, it was the story wise, I think people are enjoying it, because this movie holding quite well at the domestic, but unfortunately this movie opened to such a low number. But it did cost to, I think this movie cost to make $200 million, if I'm not wrong. It is a Pixar movie after all. They do have big budgets. So looks like domestic, it just crossed 111. Oh, I had no idea this movie making so less at the domestic. International is 144 and the total is 255 at the worldwide market. Okay, so if we look at all this box office number, I will say end of the day, Little Mermaid is the one, I guess, losing less money than this, because the Little Mermaid was actually okay movie. All of this movie had some problem. I didn't hear big problem about Elemental, so I don't know. I wasn't keeping track about it. This movie never generate any publicity with any public. Like, people never were interested in Elemental, so that movie flop is no surprise. I think I always knew Indiana Jones gonna flop. I guess I was hoping that Little Mermaid will be huge hit, because at one point I thought Little Mermaid will be actually $1 billion movie. If I look at all this box office number, Disney is losing a lot of money this year. All their decision to do all this oak race swapping. And what I think I'm missing another movie. Am I not missing about Ant-Man? Yeah, the Ant-Man was even bigger flop than any of them. But I think the Guardian of the Galaxy is doing quite good. So, you know, it's not like only movie I think this year is making money for Disney is the Guardian of the Galaxy. Rest of them are flop. I will say at this point, the Little Mermaid is the less flop. Like, I would say it's not gonna lose like huge amount of money like Indiana Jones or Elemental, although it is still flop, but it's not as huge as this two movie. And that was my thought on this. Let me know in the comment, what do you think about this movie's number? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share other videos on other topics. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.